Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the North Hills. My name is Isaac Elias, and I am the lay leader today. Please join me in welcoming each other into this moment made sacred by our presence. We're going to, do the thing where I put my hands out. So, whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, whatever your journey has been, we welcome you, the whole of you. All right. Our Sunday services are as diverse as we are, so if you are visiting our church for the first time, please come back again several times so that you may experience various topics and styles of worship. Though we enjoy a variety of worship services, one thing that remains consistent is our mission. Please join me in affirming our mission statement, which will be here on the screen. By building a loving religious community that nourishes the spirit, celebrates life, and cherishes the connectedness of all things, we will transform ourselves and our world. Please join us for coffee hour in Friendship Hall immediately after the service. It is good to be together both in person and virtually.
Good morning. My name is Leanne Washington, and I'm the minister who's blessed to be serving this beloved community. I understand that today is Father's Day, so all of you who are celebrating Father's Day, happy Father's Day. Today, our service is going to be focused on celebrating the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, also known as Litha or midsummer. It's one of the 8 major sabbats on the pagan wheel of the year, and I bet I mispronounced all of that. Did I? L-I-T-H, that's Litha? And is it Sabbat or Sabbat? I guess it depends on which part of the country you're from. In any case, that's what we're going to be focusing on to some extent, although the message today is not necessarily focused on the summer solstice. It's inspired by it. In this season, we also honor an ancient cycle. It's said that the Oak King and the Holly King hold dominion over the 2 halves of the year, locked in a rhythmic eternal dance. Now, some people say they're fighting. Others like to think of them as just sort of dancing and keeping a kind of equilibrium. Today, as the sun reaches its zenith, the Oak King stands at his peak of strength. Yet, even in this moment of greatest light, the turning of the wheel begins, and the Holly King waits in the wings to reclaim his season, which is from this day to the winter solstice. They meet on the solstices not as enemies, but as partners in the great unfolding mystery of time, a reminder that every ending holds the seed of a new beginning, and every triumph of light carries with it the gentle promise of return. It's a joy to gather with all of you this morning, whether you identify as a seeker, a fellow traveler, or simply friends. On this longest day of the year, let us step into the light together. I invite you to set down whatever burdens you carried through the door, and let this space offer you a moment of true rest. Take a deep, intentional breath. Let the energy of this community fill you up. As you exhale, let go of the rush and arrive fully right here in this sacred present moment. Now, let us join in worship. As we gather on this summer solstice, we orient ourselves using an ancient map of wholeness and community connection, the medicine wheel. While the overarching concept of the medicine wheel is shared across many indigenous nations, the particulars, the specific colors, elements, and alignments vary significantly by tribe and nation. Today, we ground our ritual in the specific traditions of the Lenape people, who established major permanent settlements right here along the Allegheny River in the 18th century. In their tradition, the wheel is not a static symbol of luck, but a rigorous guide for personal self-cultivation. The Lenape teach that we must actively develop all four quadrants of our lives: our spirit, our physical body, our emotions, and our intellect. We cultivate this personal resourcefulness not to stand in isolated pride, but so that we have something of substance to bring to the center where our shared chalice burns, anchoring our interdependent web. I invite those who accepted the invitation to read the calling of the corners to come forward. Each of you should have a paper. And there is a microphone. Julie, you want to join us here at the table? Yeah. We're doing it from here, not around the room. All right, look on the first page. On the front page is the calling. And then it begins with the east. So the person at the east will start. And then the back of that page has the remaining directions. All right, so we begin by orienting ourselves to the four directions, grounding our intentions in the ancient wisdom of this land and the wheel of our own inner lives. Facing east.
We turn to the east, the direction of the rising sun, draped in yellow. We honor the spark of new beginnings and the clarity of spirit that guides us forward. We commit to cultivating our inner light with intention.
Isaac, would you hand her a lighter so she can light her candle? Connie, Isaac is offering you a means to light the candle at your corner. There we go. All right, facing south.
We turn to the south where the warmth of the summer glows in red. We honor our physical bodies and the growth we nurture through our labor. We commit to the tending our strength so that we may fully participate in the life of this community.
There we go. And you're wearing a red shirt. That was the whole idea. Facing north. No, west, sorry, facing west.
We turn to the west, the color of the setting sun in deep blue. We honor our emotions and the space for introspection. We commit to the courage of feeling deeply, knowing that true wholeness requires us to embrace the cycle of letting go.
Facing north.
We turn to the north, the direction of the white winter wind. We honor our intellect and the wisdom of our ancestors. We commit to the lifelong study of truth, drawing on the depth of those who have paved the way.
Would you hand that to Isaac? Isaac, will you? The flaming chalice is a symbol of our faith as we join with other UU churches and fellowships in this familiar ritual. As we share the light of this chalice in our sanctuary, we also welcome those of you viewing remotely to light a chalice. We have traversed the wheel of our lives, spirit, body, emotion, and mind. We do not cultivate these gifts to stand in isolation, but to bring them here, to the center. In this center, our individual resourcefulness meets the strength of our collective. As we light this chalice, we ignite the interdependent web that sustains us. We bring the light of our own hearts together so that in this sanctuary, we are never alone. And together, we are radiant. Thank you all. We open our service by immersing ourselves in the full radiant light of the summer solstice. This hymn celebrates the peak of June. It invites us to anchor our gathering in the abundance of the natural world. Please rise in body or in spirit as you are willing and able, and join in singing our opening hymn, The Sweet June Days, number 65 in the gray hymnal. The words will also appear on the screens. Our young and young at heart to come forward. Our story this morning is The Invisible Web, written by Patrice Karst and illustrated by Joanne Lou Vreithoff. So, do we have any children? Huh. Well, oh, here comes one. Here we go. Does anybody want to accompany? Any young at heart want to come up here as well? All right, yay, okay. Hi, come on, sit down here. You can sit on a chair or the floor. Oh, hey, what do you got in your hand? Beads, huh? Very pretty. Okay, great. So you guys have been playing back there? Awesome. All right, well, let's sit down and hear a story. The very best news ever has begun to spread all over the world. One heart at a time, shouted from the mountaintops. Every single one of us is connected to those we love by invisible strings. Let's make sure we don't pull anything off the table. Can you help me tell the story? Can you help me tell the story? Come on up here and help. Nope. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. All right, so first, let's read this. That means Giovanna and her daddy are always together, even though he moved to a new house. Omar can feel the tugs of love from his parents, even though he's living far away at school. And Mr. Chang still feels Mrs. Chang close by, even though she died such a very long time ago. And you, at this very moment, may feel the strings of someone close to you, even though they aren't there. You can't see it, but it's real. See the strings? Our strings reach to everyone we know. They travel far and wide to families and friends, classmates and coaches, to bus drivers and babysitters, neighbors and pets, to aunts and uncles and grandparents and grandchildren and countless other people. And all of those people have hundreds of strings. You see all the strings? See the red strings? Soaring high over rocky peaks and across the 7 seas, deep into jungles and valleys, and winding through the busiest of cities, all these strings crisscross one another and create a nest that covers the planet, interlocking us together, cradling us forever. A lovely thought. Look at this. Now, this seems to be a very interesting compilation of butterflies and seahorses. They don't usually appear together in the same place, but here they do. If you turn to the next page. Yeah, there we go. You see the butterflies and the seahorses? The web has no borders and wraps every continent. Within it live butterflies and flowers, starfish and seahorses, lions and ants, rivers and snowstorms, and all human beings. Giovanna, Omar, Mr. Chang, and of course, you and me too. What does that look like? Do you know what that is? Yeah. That's Earth. That's where we live. Some say it even reaches to our ancestors and those we cherish in the beyond. One tug on a string sends love to every one of us, woven together in this divine tapestry. And that means just one good deed travels across the entire web. Everything is linked. So when you do a nice thing, it reverberates all through the web. I get to feel it. But sometimes folks forget. When they can't feel their strings, they forget about our invisible web. And that's when strings get tangled up. Like when lonely Louisa isn't invited to sit with anyone at her school at lunchtime. Or when sad Stefano wishes his friend Marcos wasn't so bossy when they played together. Or when Mrs. Patel struggles at work without help and she just wants to quit. Even violence and war can erupt when too many of us forget the web. When strings are ignored, they become weak and begin to unravel. But the more people who care for the web, the stronger it remains. So even if it gets weak in some places, we can work to make it stronger in others. And then the whole thing is kept together. The web feels like every parent since the beginning of time, holding and protecting each one of us in millions of gentle arms. What could be stronger than all those hands holding us close? So many supportive fingers can always find a way to untangle strings so that love can flow again. But it's up to every one of us to spread the word. Our time is right now. Who will write to cousins? Who will call their great-grandparents? Who will just nod and smile as if they have always known? If we remember the web and tug at it often, nobody will ever be left out. We'll see others more clearly. The people of the world will look into each other's eyes, and they will smile at one another. And when one of them cries, they will all want to help. And they do. Marcos apologizes to Stefano, who forgives his friend, and they have even more fun playing. Someone helps Mrs. Patel at work and tells her what a great job she's doing. She remembers that she's important and feels happy. And Louisa feels warm and bubbly inside when a few of the kids in the class ask her to join them under the banyan tree for lunch. She knows right then that the invisible web is real. It connects us all. After school, Louisa cries with joy as she strokes her cat, who purrs the news to the stars. And the stars whisper the secret to the clouds, who share it with the songbirds, who serenade the world with this exquisite melody of love at the start of each morning and all during the day, until, as the invisible web glitters in the magic of twilight, the owls take over and hoot the news throughout the night. You always wondered what it was those birds were saying, right? They're reminding us that we are all connected by a web. The invisible web is alive. Its time is right now. It breathes as we breathe, pulsating all over the earth, the single heartbeat of life and love. And do you know what that makes us all? One very big family. We are all connected. P.S. I just love being right here in the very middle of the invisible web with you. Thank you for coming out. Now, we can sing you to a classroom. Do we have a classroom today? No? I'm not sure. Okay. Robin isn't here, so maybe you just go to the back with your parents. But let's sing you to the back. Let us share our joys and sorrows.
Good morning. I'm Inga Burton-Smith from the Lay Pastoral Care Team. During our service, we create this sacred space for sharing within our community. It's a time to share significant life passages with the congregation so that you can be held in loving care. I'll be reading the joys and sorrows this morning, and Lynn Herkenrother will be placing a stone representing each joy or sorrow in the sand. The sand represents our congregation, supporting our sorrows and lifting up our joys. Today we have one sorrow, one concern, and two joys. From Cheryl Rampelt, a sorrow. Our friend Connie Hester has been in Presbyterian Hospital since she suffered complications of her pulmonary hypertension disease. She's doing a little better, but not well enough to go home. Her doctors will evaluate her for a lung transplant. At this time, text messages to Connie are welcome. To Cheryl and Connie, we say, we are holding you in our hearts. From Susan Powers, a concern. Randy has lymphocytic leukemia and has been in passivant for several days. He's getting transfusions and lots of tests to determine the next step. We are hopeful that a treatment will work and he can be back at UUCNH soon. To Susan and Randy, we say, we are holding you in our hearts. From Kip Ruffel, a joy. My kids turned 18 on May 24th, graduated high school on May 29th, and will both be starting college on August 20th. Wow. To Kip, we say, we share in your joy. And from Peggy Trevanian, also a joy. My youngest granddaughter, Mary, graduated from Baylor University with a degree in the classics. She has accepted a Fulbright scholarship and will spend the next year in Germany. To Peggy and her family, we say, we share in your joy. Now, Lynn will place one more stone in the sand for all the joys and sorrows that exist in our hearts but remain unspoken today. From far and near, please say with me our caring words, which will be on our screen. Let us hold in our circle of caring each person here. Let us hold in our hearts those who are unable to be with us today. Let us hold in our memories those who have moved on. Let us find comfort in knowing that we are not alone.
All righty. One thing that we usually do, that we didn't do, is to say that we are so grateful for any newcomers, guests, first-timers that we have here. And we'd like to give you a chance, if you'd like, to raise your hand and introduce yourself so we can identify you and say hi, welcome. If you'd like to raise your hand, then our lovely mic carrier will bring it to you. Thank you, Cindy.
Hi, I'm Paul Meyer. My wife, Lee Kraft, and I just moved here from San Antonio, Texas, with our two daughters, and we're very happy to be here.
We are UU people from Corpus Christi. San Antonio had one that was too far away because we were way out in the sticks. But other than that, we're happy to be back with the UU community.
Welcome. All right, we've got some folks over here, Cindy.
I am John Baxter, here with Tuesday. We are visiting my dad, Jack, just for the weekend. So this is our first time here. Happy Father's Day to everyone.
All right, any other visitors, first timers, back and long timers? All right, great. Thank you so much.
As we transition into a space of quiet meditation, let us allow the frantic noise of our days to settle. Think of this silence not as an empty void, but as a clear, focused lens that gathers the scattered rays of our attention. For the next 3 minutes, we will sit in stillness together, resting in the warmth of our shared presence and grounding ourselves in the quiet resourcefulness of our own souls. So get comfortable in your seats. Some people like to close their eyes. Others like to find a point of focus, such as the flame of our chalice. Now let us enter silence. I invite you back into the room. As I said earlier, we are gathering this morning on the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the apex of light. It's the season where everything is fully illuminated, leaving no room for hidden things. Yet, as any student of physics or human nature knows, the brighter the light, the sharper and darker the shadow it casts. In our religious tradition, we rightly celebrate the virtues of care, benevolence, and compassion. Our seventh principle calls us to honor the interdependent web of all existence. We pride ourselves on being a community that feels deeply and moves quickly to alleviate suffering. But on this day of total illumination, we must possess the intellectual honesty to look directly into the shadow cast by our own virtues. Specifically, we confront the trap of toxic compassion. Virtue becomes a shadow when it is no longer balanced by justice. True care is a delicate, demanding equilibrium between individual agency and communal responsibility. Yet, in our well-intentioned efforts to do good, we sometimes fall into one of two persistent opposing errors. The first error is a rigid, hyper-individualistic self-sufficiency that refuses the support of others. A prideful stance that claims we need nothing from the community. The second error, which is far more insidious in progressive religious spaces, is a toxic empathy. This is a form of care that minimizes human capability by viewing people as perpetual victims. It is a reflexive, comfort-seeking sentimentality that prioritizes the emotional needs of the giver over the long-term dignity and autonomy of the receiver. We must critically evaluate our reasons for assisting someone else to truly empower them or merely to soothe our own anguished consciences. If we are to escape a trap, we must unpack our language, think about our history, and better understand our partnerships with other organizations. To understand how compassion curdles into something toxic, we have to look at how our texts have been handled by history. Our language has been sanitized. When we read modern translations of ancient scriptures, we encounter the word compassion or pity as a polite, gentle emotion. But in the original languages, these concepts were explosive. In the Greek New Testament, the primary verb used when Jesus or a radical community organizer looks upon suffering is splanchnizomai. It's hard to say, and I probably put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. It doesn't mean to feel a polite pang of sympathy. It literally means to have your gut wrenched. It's a visceral physical reaction to an intolerable breach of human dignity. It's an internal upheaval that demands immediate outward action to rectify a structural wrong. Yet centuries of patriarchal and institutional translation has systemically softened this word. Translators changed gut-wrenching into solidarity, to he was moved with pity. I'm going to say that again because it didn't come out quite right. The translator changed something that moved people because of one's gut-wrenching need to express solidarity with someone in pain to he was moved with pity. Notice what happens in that subtle shift. Pity is not a tool of liberation. When you pity someone, you're not really empowering them. Pity requires a vertical relationship. It requires someone standing securely on top, looking down at someone trapped at the bottom. Pity allows the giver to remain entirely comfortable, offering crumbs from a position of safety. It turns the suffering of another human being into an opportunity for the giver to feel benevolent. We see the same dynamic in the Hebrew scriptures with the word rachamim, which translates to compassion, but is linguistically rooted in the word for womb, rechem. It implies a fierce, protective, life-giving matrix of mutual responsibility and mutual empowerment. In early non-canonical Christian texts, women frequently exercised authority through this exact style of disruptive, womb-rooted community care, an active political solidarity that actively threatened the Roman hierarchy. When translators stripped these words of their visceral structural edge and turned them into passive, gentle benevolence, they robbed women of their historical power, and they robbed the concept of care of its justice. They replaced solidarity with charity, where solidarity demands shared risk and structural equity. Charity merely demands a spare dollar and a sympathetic sigh. We've discussed the dangers of toxic empathy, but we must also address the courage required to be on the receiving end of community. Often we hesitate to call upon one another, fearing that to ask for help is to admit defeat or to burden the community. Yet this silence is its own form of isolation, denying our community the opportunity to practice true interdependence. We remember that we are a web, not a collection of lonely islands. By reaching out, we're not displaying weakness. We're inviting our friends to engage in the sacred work of empowerment and care. When we ask for support, we offer our community the chance to fulfill its deepest purpose, to act as a transformative force. The communal reliance is not just a moral choice. It's, as the Stoics taught, our very nature. Marcus Aurelius famously reminded us that we were born for cooperation. To act against one another or to withdraw into isolation is to go against the grain of our shared humanity. So let's embrace the vulnerability of needing one another. For it's in this mutual reliance that we empower each other to become more vibrant, capable, and positive contributors to the thriving society we're all trying to build. The tension between a dependency creating charity and an empowering solidarity is not a modern invention. The medieval philosopher and physician Moses Maimonides mapped this exact psychological and ethical minefield in his Mishneh Torah. Within the laws regarding gifts to the poor, matanot aniyim, Maimonides constructed a famous ladder of giving consisting of 8 distinct levels. At the bottom of the ladder are forms of giving that we easily recognize as flawed. Giving grudgingly, giving less than you should, or giving only after you've been asked, or maybe even coerced. As you move up the ladder, the transactions become more anonymous, protecting the recipient from the shame of face-to-face dependency. But it's the 8th and highest tier of Maimonides' ladder that demands our full attention today. He wrote that the summit of ethical care, the form of giving that surpasses all others, is to enter into a business partnership with the person in need, to establish a repayable loan, or to provide them with employment. In short, Maimonides argued that the highest form of compassion is to strengthen the recipient's hand so that they no longer need aid. You've heard about the difference between giving a person a fish and teaching a person how to fish. Maimonides understood a profound psychological truth that modern toxic compassion ignores. Charity that creates permanent dependency is not a virtue. It's a form of structural violence. It centers the emotional comfort of the giver, who gets to remain the grand benefactor, while systemically stripping the receiver of their agency, their self-determination, and their human dignity. When we offer a permanent Band-Aid where a shovel is required, we are not practicing the seventh principle. We are practicing control under the guise of kindness. So this ancient insight bridges one of the greatest fractures in American philosophical thought. That's an exaggerated claim. The debate between Ralph Waldo Emerson and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On one side, Emerson stands the champion of 19th century self-reliance. Emerson cast a cynical eye on the charity of his day. In his famous essay, he wrote sharply about his reluctance to give to miscalled philanthropies. He warned that reflexive almsgiving was often nothing more than an apology or a bribe to buy off one's conscience, rather than a genuine engagement with human dignity. Emerson's fear was that charity degrades the individual character, fostering a culture of compliance and reliance on external structures, rather than cultivating the divine spark within. For over a century, Emerson's self-reliance has been weaponized by those who wish to dismantle the social safety net, using it as an excuse for cold indifference. And so we counter Emerson with Dr. King. Writing from the cramped confines of a Birmingham jail cell, Dr. King reminded the nation of a fundamental reality. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Dr. King understood that individual self-reliance is an illusion if the systemic structures around that individual are designed to crush them. You cannot tell a person to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps if they have no boots. For decades, political and social theorists have treated Emerson and King as mutually exclusive options. You are either an individualist who values self-reliance, or you're a collectivist who values the network of mutuality. We live right now in a political atmosphere in which we are being offered time and time again an either-or situation. You're either with us or against us. You're either liberal or you're conservative. You're either this or you're that. But Maimonides' highest tier of giving bridges this artificial chasm. True care does not force a choice between Emersonian self-reliance and King's mutuality. Instead, true care uses the network of mutuality specifically to cultivate self-reliance. It recognizes that we're interconnected, but insists that the goal of our interconnection is to build up the independent agency of every human being within the web. Mutuality is the foundation. Individual dignity and agency are the architecture. I give as an example our partnership with Jewish Family and Children's Services. This is a positive example. The ethos that I've just talked about requires us to listen before we act. And we look to our own Unitarian history for this guidance. In the 1820s, as Joseph Tuckerman walked the streets of Boston to understand the needs of the impoverished, he did not arrive with assumptions or prepackaged charity. He famously asked, "What do you need?" The people he served often expressed a profound gratitude for the question itself, noting that others frequently gave them what they thought they needed rather than what was actually helpful. To empower someone is to trust their own assessment of their situation. Like Tuckerman, we must cultivate the humility to ask, to listen, and then respond to the resources that honor their dignity. Our congregation is supporting refugee resettlement and immigration initiatives through the Jewish Family and Community Services. And we must make sure that as we do so, we are careful about the narrative that we tell ourselves, the story that we tell ourselves when we engage in the work. If we were, which we don't, but if we were to approach these refugee families through the lens of pity, viewing them as tragic or helpless, people that we are here to save, we would be practicing toxic compassion. We would be centering our own comfort, treating them as props in our own moral drama. But instead, we work with the Jewish Family and Community Services, which takes great care to get to know the refugees that they ask us to support. They take great care to find out, what do the families actually need? Where are they coming from? What was their life experience before they got here? How can we provide what they need? These refugees are not helpless, they're survivors. They're individuals who have navigated collapsing states, bureaucratic nightmares, international borders, and profound loss. They possess an extraordinary wealth of resilience, intellect, professional skill, and human resourcefulness. They don't need our pity. And we aren't offering charity. We are offering startup assistance in just the way that Maimonides would have us do. Think of a venture capitalist who invests in a startup company. They don't do it with the idea of pity or perpetually taking care of someone. They don't look down on them. They provide financial assistance, they provide resources, they provide consultation and structural support, because they believe in the viability of the company or the organization that they're investing in. They believe in the talent and the future independence of the entrepreneur. The goal of the investment is for a startup to become fully autonomous, self-sustaining, and a contributor to the wider market. And that's Maimonides' 8th level of giving in a modern idiom. Our work with JFCS is an investment in human capital. When we help secure housing, when we stock pantries, when JFCS assists them with language acquisition or job placement, we're all providing the initial runway for a startup of human life in a new land, for the success of a family that has been taken from one environment and find themselves in a completely unknown, unfamiliar one. We are clearing the systemic hurdles out of the way so that their inherent capability, their talents, their dreams, and their desires can take root and flourish. We do this not to make them dependent upon our benevolence, but to honor their right to self-determination. We do this so that they can stand as equals in our shared network of mutuality, eventually offering their own unique strengths back into the community and becoming a very strong string in the interdependent web. As we stand in the full, unyielding light of this summer solstice, let us have the courage to cast away the shadows of sentimental, self-serving empathy. Let us refuse to engage in a care that leaves systems intact while merely soothing our own feelings. Let's claim the original gut-wrenching urgency of splanknizomai and the fierce protective matrix of rachamim. Let's understand that true independence requires us to build structures of equity, not monuments to our own charity, and that we shouldn't look to provide permanent status of victim or to label people in such a way, but rather to help them acquire the resources and the tools that they need in order to be able to succeed, both materially and spiritually, and become an integrated part of our community. When we look at a world fractured by displacement, economic injustice, and systemic indifference, Let us respond in an active, clear-eyed, and intellectually honest solidarity. Let's strengthen the hand, honor the soul, and build a community where every individual has the power, the resources, and the dignity to thrive. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. Now I'm going to ask Isaac to read the two readings.
Combining this month's liturgical theme of flourishing together and a celebration of the summer solstice invites us to look closely at the quality of the light we bring to our common life. To guide our reflection, I will now share two separate readings from the sermons of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., originally published in his 1963 collection, Strength to Love. In these pieces, Dr. King uses the metaphor of light to challenge our understanding of love, altruism, and human connection. Let us listen to these words of ancestral wisdom. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Hate multiplies hate. Violence multiplies violence. And toughness multiplies toughness in a descending spiral of destruction. So when Jesus says, love your enemies, he is setting forth a profound and unavoidable necessity. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. An individual has not started living fully until they can rise above the narrow confines of individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of humanity. Every person must decide at some point whether they will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?
The hymn that we're about to sing, Our World is One World, number 134 in the gray hymnal, reminds us that the personal resourcefulness we cultivate is never meant for isolation, but for serving the whole. Its lyrics ground us directly in our seventh principle, affirming that our individual lives are fundamentally woven together. Singing these words challenges us to build an interdependence where every soul participates as an equal partner. Please rise in body or in spirit as you're willing and able, and join in singing Our World is One World, number 134 in the gray hymnal.
When we give today, we are not offering the handouts of passive pity, but rather investing in the shared infrastructure of our community. Sharing our financial abundance allows us to sustain this church as a vital sanctuary where individual resourcefulness is nurtured as our interdependent web is made strong. As an independent Unitarian Universalist congregation, we depend on your financial support to pay our staff, to maintain our beautiful campus, and to offer meaningful worship services and religious exploration programs. Instructions for online contributions are on the screens. If you're visiting us for the first time, please feel free to let the basket pass. Your presence with us today is your gift to us. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. We appreciate your generosity, and we will be good stewards of your contributions. Please join me in dedicating the offering. You will see the words on the screen. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. We now close our service with a charge to carry our personal agency out into the world. This song reminds us that the unique light we possess should not be hidden. It must be deliberately shared to dispel the shadows around us. It sends us forth to actively support others, using our own resourcefulness to help our neighbors kindle their own flames. Please rise in body or in spirit as you are willing and able, and join us in singing our closing hymn, This Little Light of Mine, number 118 in the gray teal hymnal. The words will, it's the gray hymnal.
It is the gray hymnal.
It's a gray hymnal. Gray. The words will also appear on the screens.
That's the lighter, not the snuffer. All right, I invite those who agreed to read to come forward and take your places. As we draw this service to a close, we release the directions that have held our sacred space today. We turn from the east, grateful for the clarity of spirit that has illuminated our gathering. We extinguish the candle on the east. Okay, the south. We turn from the south, thankful for the physical strength that allows us to labor for our community. We turn from the west, releasing the emotions that we have held, trusting in the cycle of growth and letting go. We turn from the north, appreciative of the wisdom and ancestral truth that grounded our reflections. And give that to Isaac, please. The chalice fire we lit at the beginning of our time together now dims in this vessel, but the flame of our interdependence does not go out. We carry this light out these doors into our homes and into our lives. May we tend the interdependent web long after we leave this place, keeping our shared warmth alive until we meet again. I ask you just to remain where you are. And to everyone, please go forth into the world with your eyes wide open to the brilliant light of the summer sun. Let us reject both the shadows of pity that diminish others and the walls of isolation that lock us away from one another. Instead, may we gladly offer our own personal resourcefulness to the world as we build and sustain our beautiful interdependent web. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. Go forth in peace.
kind of gigs you've been getting to do?
We had a wedding. Kalina and I had a wedding cocktail hour last year. It's like the big Greek Orthodox church.
Yeah, they always have food festival and stuff.
Yeah,
right.
They have like a huge ballroom.
You guys should play more. You're all set up. That was a short ending. I feel changed.
I'm sorry. We'll play more next time.
Okay. And if you don't, I'm going to stand up and protest.
That's right. I want my money back.
So where are your kids going? Twins, I guess.
Yeah, boy and girl. It's a University of Pittsburgh. They're going to go to the Bradford campus.
Are they really close?
Quicker chance. I mean, they all are, but like, you'd never hear it verbally from them. Just they always kind of say, like, someday I really would prefer to be in other chance. I mean, yeah, they've been together since the womb, right? Never been apart. So, I was.
Were they together in the classes all through college?
Up until 4th or 5th grade.
Because of their choice or your wife's choice?
Well, we had decided that. And then when they were in 4th grade, they went to school. And I asked the kids, hey, we're going to school. Would you like to? And they both said, no. And I said, well, maybe it would be nice if my daughter, how old are you in 4th grade?
You're 9 years old.
She said, Dad, I do not discuss this any further. And then by the time they got to high school, they actually started having different classes, and then the last 4 years of high school, they were completely different classes. But I was amazed that they both chose to go to the Bradford campus. So I said, that's great, because I went there my freshman year in the 80s, and they love the area because we used to go camping all the time. But it's a small campus, it's all contained, you don't have to go too far. It's not like Oakland campus. It's a 3-hour drive, so far enough away that they can't be like, Dad. And close enough to the simple. When crazy happens, it's 3 hours. Yeah, the university, Bradford, they have all kind of great deals, and they do special deals for students. Like at this time, great for us back to Pittsburgh or flight back to Pittsburgh, especially during the holidays. Yeah, like
So not for an emergency, just for a wow, that's really generous.
And I work for the university, so I get what just what costs to the class. So that's covered. So that's the only reason